Now, if I'm honest, I never thought I would be testing and reviewing inov-8's ROCLITE on the channel. I did run the shoe about sort of 10 years ago and it just didn't work for me. Didn't fit my foot shape particularly well and it felt pretty stiff and quite clunky, and it was all a little bit dad shoe for my liking. However, inov-8 have just given the ROCLITE a really big update and they've added some of their graphene magic, and I actually think that it's a pretty good looking shoe this time around. We all know that it's not all about looks when it comes to our running shoes, so in today's video we're going to be getting these on our feet, getting out on the trails and finding out how they feel and how they perform. Welcome back folks to another first impressions video. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. Hope everybody has completed their Christmas shopping and you can relax a bit now and look forward to the big day. Don't forget guys, we are running a giveaway at the moment on our Christmas gift ideas video. So we got a great box of running goodies up for grabs. So if you haven't watched that video, I'll leave a link in the description so you can go along and check it out and get yourselves entered. It's going to be running up until the 23rd of December. And then we're going to announce the winner at random in our Christmas Eve special video. So like I said, get along, watch the video, get yourselves entered and best of luck. But back to today's video and the shoe in question, and it is inov-8's new Roclite Ultra G 320. Another nice sort of short snappy name from the brand that just rolls off the tongue. This is the latest addition to their graphene trail running shoe family. So now it comes with a G-Fly, graphene infused midsole and graphene enhanced rubber on the outsole. So before we sort of take these out on the trails for their first run, let's give you guys a few facts and figures about this graphene laden trail running shoe. Now in the past, when inov-8 have added graphene to certain models of shoes, we have seen it affect the cost and the overall weight, and in quite a big way in some models. Unfortunately, the same has to be said about the new Roclite. So they now retail in the UK for £170, and that's a pretty hefty price to pay for a pair of trail running shoes. Weight wise, UK 10.5 weighs in at 385 grams. Okay, maybe I'm being a little bit dramatic, it's not that heavy, but 385 grams does make this a pretty weighty trail running shoe. When it comes to the drop, we've got an 8mm offset, so you get a stack height of 20mm under your heel and 12mm under your forefoot. As far as the upper construction goes, inov-8 have gone for this super tough new mesh fabric. We've got an improved lockdown from this adapter fit that's worked into the heel and around the ankle. Happy to say, a nice level of padding just right in that tongue, and it is gusseted into that upper, and the ankle collar and heel feels nice and plush and not too stiff either, like it can feel in some inov-8 shoes. Not only do we see that new tough mesh being used, but we've also got quite a few sort of structural overlays in place. So wrapping around the midfoot, around those lace eyelets and wrapping around the toe box just to help increase the durability. And then finishing up, we've got a good level of reinforcement in that toe box to give you good levels of protection when you're out on the trails. The midsole's had a pretty big update as well with the addition of G-Fly. So that's inov-8's graphene infused foam, claimed to give you 25% more energy return and to last longer. But, and it is a big but, it doesn't stop there, because these also come with a pair of the super soft and super bouncy boomerang footbeds. Now, if you haven't come across these before, they really are very comfortable insoles, and you can actually purchase them separately on inov-8's website. And I would kind of call it a sort of pimp my ride thing.
Damn right.
These really do make a difference to underfoot comfort in your running shoes. And lastly, we've got this pretty chunky looking 6mm lugged outsole. Again, graphene has been used here, infused into that rubber, so it is a G-grip outsole. Looks like it's going to handle the muddy conditions we get this time of the year in the UK really well, with this nice big chunky lug pattern, lots of space between those lugs, so it shouldn't hold on to mud, it should clear it quickly. We've got a Meta Flex groove working across that forefoot just to give a bit more flex on toe off. and we've also got a meta plate at the shank of the shoe, giving you good levels of underfoot protection. So there you have it, a bit of info about inov-8's rather good looking new Roclite Ultra G 320. It's also available in a black and green colourway, and it looks awesome in that colour option, but I'm kind of liking the blue and orange vibes here as well. But I really have waffled on long enough, so it's time to get these on our feet and get out on the stunning Cornish trails. Right, the first thing I have to say is looks can be very deceiving. We've got this glorious blue sky here in Cornwall, but boy is it cold today. There's even frost on the ground, and you very rarely see that down here in Cornwall. The gloves are well and truly on, and I've got this new Blaze long sleeve top from Say Sky, so slightly sort of heavier fabric and a little bit fleecy inside, so perfect for these colder conditions. We're 2 miles into the run, and the first thing about the shoe is when it comes down to fit. So like I mentioned back at the house, I went for a UK 10.5 again. I've done that in my last 3 inov-8 shoes, and they all fit fine in that size. So their current batch of shoes seem to be sizing up really small, because normally I'd run in a UK 9.5. That padded tongue feels really good, definitely an improvement on some of the thin tongues that inov-8 put in their shoes, and really well held in the heel, nice and flexible around the ankle collar, so it feels really comfortable straight out the box. So the plan for the run today is just to take it nice and steady, probably 10k, 7 miles out here on the epic Towans. This is my first run back since Hurtwood 50k, and towards the end of that 50k, my legs were feeling pretty trashed and pretty tight. So taking it easy all week, just done lots of stretching, lots of rolling, got in the old myo pumps and flushed everything through the system. And 2 miles in, the legs feel pretty good. So let's crack on. Great to be back out on the trails. What an incredible day for a run. And I know, that's some view, isn't it? Incredible when the sky is blue and the sun's shining. Epic, man. What a place to run, the Hayle Towans. Very lucky, that's for sure. Right, 4.3 miles in, and I am a happy boy because I'm really surprised how my legs are feeling. Like I say, when I crossed the finish line of Hurtwood 50k, they felt completely wrecked, super tight. That sciatic nerve thing was kicking off again, and it actually feels really good today. So far we've run on a bit of soft sand, although that's how cold it is. Some of the sand was even frozen, and that hardly ever happens in Cornwall. But yeah, so soft sand, we run on some wet grass, some gravelly trail, some rocky trail, and the midsole feels pretty comfortable. We also soaked up a bit of tarmac on the way to the trails. I wouldn't say it's as soft and as bouncy as say the Ultra G 300 Max, but still offering a really good level of cushioning on all those types of terrains. Obviously you've got them boomerang footbeds in there as well that really do make a difference when it comes to underfoot comfort. So like I say, 4.3 miles down, we're going to do about 7 miles. So I love being out here when the weather is like this in winter. There's nothing better when it's cold but crisp, and you can put some layers on and keep toasty warm, and if you keep moving it's fine, and it's just awesome to run in these types of conditions. So let's crack on, let's get these other 3 miles done. Okay, so we are pretty much done. So it's going to be 7 miles by the time we get back. Super happy with how the body's felt. It's held together. Always good when you get through a challenging race in one piece with no niggles, with no injuries. And the shoe has performed pretty well. So a couple of things I'm not so sure about. So let's get back home. We're going to break down the performance in a bit more detail. Okay, I think I've just about warmed up now, and you know, we're really not used to this sort of cold snap of weather down here in Cornwall. Whenever we travel up country, we always notice a difference in temperature this time of the year. We are very lucky down here when it comes to cold weather. Also, my circulation is terrible, so I really start to feel it in my extremities, in my feet and in my hands. And I've had a nice hot shower and my hands are still icy cold as we speak. But it was still great to be out there running on the Towans under that awesome blue sky, and it always makes the running footage look better. The new Roclite performed well out on its first run, a nice comfortable upper, which hasn't always been the case. I have struggled with some of the other inov-8 models when it comes to upper comfort, but no issues to speak of here. Comfy across the top of my foot, nice and plush around the ankle collar and in the heel cup, and I'd say in a UK 10.5 it fitted just right on length. However, there is quite a lot of volume in this upper, so it's quite deep at the midfoot, and I did find myself having to stop mid-run and play around and pull those laces down to try and get a bit more hold around my midfoot, and I had to pull those laces down pretty tight to feel locked in. Obviously this isn't an issue with the shoe, it just comes down to personal foot shape. The inov-8 Roclite Ultra G 280 that we tested previously on the channel didn't have a pair of boomerang footbeds. Glad to say these have got a pair in, and I definitely noticed the difference straight away. Just felt a little bit comfier, a little bit more cushion, but I also think that it offered a bit more underfoot protection when I was running in those rocky areas. Don't get me wrong, this is still not a deeply cushioned shoe and there's still some firmness to that midsole, but I think it did run or offer a softer ride than the Roclite Ultra G 280. It is pretty dry here in the UK at the moment, that's for sure, and obviously today's run we were out on the sandy Towans, so I didn't come across any mud, we didn't have any mud to deal with. In fact, I haven't seen it this dry out on the trails this time of year for a long time, so don't worry, we'll make sure that we find some nice wet, muddy, slippery trails to run the new Roclite on before our full in-depth review. But as far as the grip and traction goes from that luggy outsole, it handled everything on today's run with no problems at all. So some positive elements straight out the box, but I think it's about time we address the elephant in the room, and I don't mean this elephant, I mean the fact that the new Roclite weighs in at 385 grams in a UK 10.5, but really it's a UK 9.5 because they size up really small. So that is a pretty heavy weight for a trail running shoe, and I definitely noticed it out there on that first run. Now sometimes you'll get a shoe, you'll read the specs and you'll see it's quite heavy and you think, oh no, this is going to perform terribly. You lace it up, you go for a run, and it actually runs a lot lighter than it physically is. For instance, inov-8's Roclite Ultra G 300 Max was one of those shoes. You know, I read the weight, that was 360 plus grams in my size, but I went running in it and it actually runs and performs a lot lighter than it actually is. Whereas with the new Roclite, you really do notice that weight, and it made the shoe feel a little bit stiff and a little bit clunky for me. I personally think that the performance of the Roclite Ultra G 300 Max comes down to that very clever adaptive flex groove worked into the midsole of the shoe. It really does help when it comes down to performance, and even though the shoe is still deeply stacked and it carries a lot of weight, I just feel it's very flexible at the midfoot, whereas the new Roclite is very stiff. You know, there's not a lot of play or movement in that midfoot, and it does make the shoe feel quite unresponsive, especially when you're running on more technical trails. Now obviously everybody's different when it comes to their running shoes, and different runners like different things, but I personally like a slightly lighter, more flexible midsole on my trail running shoes. So there's definitely been some highs and some lows out there on today's run, and I'd say the new Roclite probably isn't my most favourite inov-8 shoe that I've sort of tested and reviewed this year. I think that's largely down to the weight and the stiffness of that midfoot. Obviously we're going to continue to put miles in the shoe because you have to give a running shoe a chance. It might just be one of them shoes that takes a little bit longer to bed in and to soften up, and then we'll be back on the channel with a full in-depth review. While I was out there on today's run, it got me thinking about all the inov-8 shoes that I've tested this year and all the shoes that they've sort of updated or launched within their trail running lineup, and I do find it all a bit confusing at the moment. There's a lot of shoes with very similar names. There's actually a lot of shoes that feel and run very similar as well, and I'm not really sure what the brand is trying to achieve at the moment, but what do you guys think? You know, what do you think about inov-8's current trail running shoe lineup. Do you find it confusing like I do? Well, let us know in the comments below, because it'd be great to hear your thoughts. But that brings us to the end of another video. Really hope you enjoyed it, guys. Really hope you found it helpful. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It is completely free to do, doesn't cost you a penny, but it really helps the channel get seen by a wider audience. We've got lots of videos heading your way as we build up to Christmas, including our giveaway extravaganza. It's become a bit of a tradition that this time of the year we like to give back to our awesome viewers, and we'll be doing the same again this year, and the prizes have already started to roll in, and we've got some awesome goodies up for grabs. Prizes from Say Sky, Harrier, Scott Running, and so much more. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that giveaway video, and make sure you get yourself entered, because one lucky winner is going to be walking away with a big box of running goodies come Christmas Eve. But thanks for watching, guys. It's really appreciated. Thanks for all the support you give the channel. You guys rock, that's for sure. We'll be back here very, very soon. And as always, stay safe and keep on running. Didn't come with a pair of those boomerang foot pads. It maybe gave you a bit more protection when I was rucking in rocking areas. Yeah, rucking in rocking areas. Come on, Lloyd, get a grip.